That's Twisted.
This is Mark McNease in New York City with my co-host,
Rick Rose in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And you're listening to The Twist. Welcome to another Twist, everybody, America's only clothing optional podcast. What a glorious day in New York City, Rick. What's going on in Shreveport?
Great day in Shreveport. Actually, Shreveport's in New York today.
You're in New York?
No, I'm not in New York. If I was there, I'd prevent you from kicking your cat from making noise during the show.
I don't kick cats. She's old, too. I told you that. She's
teasing.
like 100 and she's blind.
I know. Good morning, everybody. Before we started the show, we're in our green room, our virtual green room, and Mark was saying that he was concerned the cat was going to make noise during the show, but Mark would never injure a cat. What I was referring to, Mark, is Shreveport, Louisiana, the Seratones, my buddy AJ and my buddy Jesse, their band, there's 4 members of the band, were on CBS Morning Show today, so it made it national, and you were watching it live from New York.
I was very excited, and I put it on Facebook, and then a mutual friend, Michael Broder, who's here, said, "Oh, is Rick in the band? You must explain." So
yeah, you must explain, because I'm certainly not in the band. For those that haven't checked them out, check out the Seratones. AJ is awesome. She's like the next Macy Gray, I contend, Mark.
Yes, and we need another Macy Gray. I loved Macy Gray.
Oh, we did too. When I used to book acts at the casino in Wisconsin, she was always my top pick. She and Cyndi Lauper, but then she kind of went down that wayward path of drug abuse, I believe.
Who, Macy? I don't know. I'm always careful to say that, just because some people like actors, they just say, "I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah, but I think in her case that was it. I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up. Speaking of which, did you see the big drama here in Louisiana? Frida, our girl,
Big Phrygia,
yeah.
whose name is Freddie, but let's go.
Yeah. Arrested, felony charges.
For what?
Charges. Oh, stealing state money, stealing federal money, some kind of like scam to get welfare or something. It's horrible.
Oh, I was going to say, did she slay somebody?
No, she didn't.
She do slay. Frida.
It's we call her Frida though, just so you know. Big Frida.
Oh, Frida, yes, Big Frida.
Yeah, I know you say Frida, but I got in trouble at work where they're very accurate because I'm a journalist, as are you these days, and
it's Big Frida.
Yeah.
Okay, she just spells it weird.
Yeah, because she's special.
Like
she
Mark with a C. Sometimes when I make reservations and stuff, they'll go, "Is that with a K or a C?" I'm like, "Who the hell is Mark with a C? Come on." It's not Paris.
And thanks to the world of Google, Mark with a C, I looked up Macy Gray. In 2014, she did a story about how drug use contributed to her career decline.
Okay,
so,
well, that's all right. I love her.
I want to check the facts on this show, Mark, because we are fact-driven journalists.
Fact-driven. And we got it. Like, you ready to start?
Oh, yeah, let's start. We got some big, and I mean big, like, let's get to the meat of the matter.
No, but don't.
What? The red lines.
I want to use the bell. It's like you're like, do you have your cow gong today?
Yeah, here.
Okay.
That's so boring. Isn't that just boring, folks?
I like it.
You do?
It a lot. I like it very much.
Well, let's get to the meat of the matter and talk about the red lines today.
And, well, okay, but what are we gonna? We always do a tease now, and we're doing 2 big deep dives now. It's
God.
Yours and mine. We were doing 4, and then the email was flooding in saying we love you guys. Maybe tighten it up a bit. I said okay.
Oh, they were saying go deeper. We love your thoughts.
They want us
to go deeper.
Of course, they always want us to go deeper.
Deep dive.
So
baby.
we're going to do 2 big topics. Mine's going to be like politics, which we could talk about for an hour. But we're not going to.
And mine's going to be about being gay and at the Oscars. And then, as you suggested, we have to move on from these topics because I know our listeners want us to go deeper, but the reality is we've been dragging on these topics for a month now.
Well, at least 2 weeks. The red carpet's got grooves in it at this point.
Well, it does. And you're right. It's beyond the red carpet, though, because all of these issues are things that are spinning and spinning and spinning. And anyway, but let's bring in the red lines. And then, I got to talk about Louisiana today. We made the Wall Street Journal twice yesterday. We made
because of Jindal, he left you a really nasty parting gift of a huge deficit.
Yeah, that coupled with the fact that oil prices are changing and all our friends here that are in the oil industry. You may recall from when you're here, everybody drives pickup trucks, wears cowboy boots and baseball caps because these young men, typically men, work on the oil rigs and they make $150,000 a year and they're all out of work now. So
right, they're all in Mini Coopers. I saw that.
You saw that, but the downtrend is amazing. Yeah, our economy is definitely affected. Other big news in Louisiana too, and then we'll get into the red lines. I've said that 3 times now.
I know you have said it 3 times. I lost them. They're not. It's not news anymore.
Well, I'm not stealing any of your news bits because I saw what they were.
Here we go. The red.
Well, no, I want to talk about the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Louisiana's ruling about closing abortion clinics. So we're back on.
They stayed it or something.
They did.
I didn't read that it was overturned.
Well, they stayed it, so we can
we'll absolutely get there.
Yes.
The week's big stories. This is where the music comes in, because a big part of the fun of the twist is all these little fun music and little
we have a great sound engineer.
So anyways, the size of Trump's dick would qualify as a big story, I believe, at least according to him, during this week's ultra-vulgar debate. Did you watch any of it? It was really, disgusting. We turned it off.
I watch these stories. That's why I said let's get to the meat of the matter. Did you catch
Oh, come on.
Okay, go.
He's got small hands. Rumors swirl that World Wrestling Entertainment has made him an offer if he fails in his presidential bid. Dana Milbank in the Washington Post this morning, it may have been yesterday because I'm not sure when they put these things online, but he calls for a Hillary Clinton-Elizabeth Warren ticket. Now, I don't know if that's too much. I mean, I love the idea, but I'm one of those the chickeny scared people who thinks, oh my God, 2 women on the ticket. America's not ready for that, but I didn't think we were ready for a black president, so I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, all the speculation now will turn to who our VP candidate, because we know it's Trump Clinton. Let's just cut to the chase, but it'll be who is she going to pick. Well, but I love the idea of that ticket, but I don't think that would win.
97-year-old woman in California died recently after being evicted from a home she'd been in for 66 years. Shame. Mm-hmm. And Louisiana, a state you might be familiar with, is facing a budget crisis left as a parting gift from Bobby Jindal, the face of Republican diversity. Now, I've got my own little red lines deep dives. Alabama's governor and legislature Thursday blocked Birmingham's attempts to raise the city's minimum wage as they swiftly approved legislation to strip cities of their ability to set hourly requirements. 100 women filed supporting briefs in a major Supreme Court abortion case argued on Wednesday. This may be the one you're talking about. The briefs tell the stories of women who say their abortions allowed them to control their bodies, plan for the future, and welcome children into their lives when their careers were established and their personal lives were on solid ground.
Yeah, that relates to the Texas case that they're hearing, and then amidst the Texas case, they brought in the shoot.
Yes. Supreme, because my paper fell. I lost the first sentence. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is not mute. I know this comes as a surprise to many. He was widely assumed. After a decade of silence on the bench, Thomas startled the nation by speaking during oral arguments this week. The 67-year-old justice asked multiple questions. He had gone since February of 2006, hearing hundreds of oral arguments without asking a single question. And in my last red line, the Nation of Islam's Louis Farrakhan praised Donald Trump for his independence from Jewish money. Offering the ultimate in low praise, Farrakhan said in a speech that Trump was the only candidate, quote, who has stood in front of the Jewish community and said, I don't want your money now. It takes a lot to get an endorsement from the KKK and Louis Farrakhan. So, and I will get into all of that when I do my big politics topic today.
We'll roll it right into that. A couple comments on what you just shared. Anita Hill is someone they suspect should be named to the Supreme Court as well.
Oh, no, you're not serious.
I've read many stories about it. She's qualified.
I don't know.
Just no coke cans in the courtroom, please.
Right. Mm-hmm. No pubes.
For those of the younger set, look up Google search those two names together, Clarence and Anita, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, let's move right into our topic. Yeah, real quick though, I do want to go a little deeper on your deeper dive about.
Okay.
Well, I think it was your earlier comment about Louisiana. It's scary, friends are writing me and say, "What's going on down there?" You forget we're a state that's troubled to begin with. We're the second poorest state. State has quickly come up with $650 per person. That amounts to $3 billion just to maintain its regular services over the next year and a half. So it's scary, and you're talking about a state that needs a lot of help. So patients are going to lose funding for treatment of disabilities. Graduations already being canceled. Students losing scholarship. Select hospitals closing. Again, because Jindal had preset the stage for this happening. And how much deeper can you go with cuts, when the economy starts to tank? So
now I have a question about Louisiana, because I don't know if things are done by the legislature or the governor, but are they going to expand Medicaid? I thought I read that.
Yes, the governor opened that back up when that was his first action within the first 2 hours of being in the Capitol.
What about the healthcare? Are they going to set up a healthcare exchange or just?
I think that's where it's headed. Yep. He's restoring a lot of this stuff. Where his his name is Edwards, our new governor. One of the places he's had some good effect, though, is threatening LSU football. The minute he threatened to cut that, the whole state perked up and said, okay, we got to take care of this budget issue.
Okay, good for him. It's interesting to me that it was like Louisiana flipped and Kentucky flipped the other way. Yeah. Their hideous Tea Party governor, Bevins, is dismantling the most successful healthcare exchange in the country out of ideology. Anyways, that's the country we live in. We have states. We don't have, this is not a single nation. We're 50 individual states. So that's just the reality.
It's an answer to your question. It's a Republican Congress down here, and they're the ones who have to make the decisions on taxing and what we're going to do. So it's interesting. But getting into the election, speaking of states, Florida, Illinois, Missouri, those are all coming up. North Carolina, Ohio next week. But this week, we've got some great voting going on here in Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, Kansas, Maine, all up for grabs for our two lovely candidates.
When is that? When is Michigan in the? That's Michigan, all next week?
No, Michigan's today. These are all March 8th.
Oh my God!
Elections.
What about Ohio?
Ohio's coming up. That's not yet. Ohio is on March 15th. So there's no question by next week with Florida and Ohio and that group of voters that we're going to know. This is a done deal between Big Dick Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Well, Kasich is hanging on by a thread, and I don't think he has much hope.
No.
He was the one I was hoping for, just in case the Democrat lost. And are we in my big topic now?
We sure are.
Okay. Well, it's just been an amazing election cycle, and I read that it's part of it is that I get so tired of talking about millennials and that kind of thing, but part of it is that an awful lot of people they're just fed up with the establishment. I read a good article about the establishment in both parties is dying. That's why you have all of these people possibly fantasizing that Bernie Sanders could be our next president. And then you have all of these other Trump supporters who are now bucking the Republican establishment that's trying to tell them to dump Trump. They're saying, go to hell. We like this guy because he's whatever he is, and they're supporting him. And so it's really fascinating to me as a political scientist. Now, that was my minor in grade school.
I know, I love it.
Political science, poli-sci. So I'm just fascinated by the whole thing. I'm sometimes horrified, but we talked about this before. I'm not going to be scared. I'm not moving to Canada. Whoever wins, wins. I'm going to be living in the country writing for, various magazines. And that's the deal. But I think it's just really, really fascinating to see what's going on in this country. And
yeah.
Some of it's, of course, it's got ugly, it's got vicious, it's got all of that stuff. But I also think that if you just stand back, you go like, holy shit, I've never seen this in my lifetime, and hopefully I never will again. But the debate was so vulgar, I couldn't watch it, and I'll give people a lot of slack. But I wanted to hear policy discussions. When Cruz says I'm going to repeal every word of Obamacare, what does that mean? Does that mean he's just going to put 22 million people without health insurance? What's the plan? And they didn't talk plans. They talked about the size of Trump's dick, and Trump kept calling Rubio Little Marco, which I thought was just, come on, man. You want to be the president of the most powerful position in the world, and you want that, and you're going to talk like that. So we turned it off.
But you're absolutely. Now, listen, Bernie called for a debate on Monday, and Hillary has agreed to do it. So Monday night should be good TV watching. Let's hope they get to the real issues like you're suggesting. But I love what you said. And it's clear that this was your field of interest as an elementary student, because you're carrying it on all these years later. In that,
well, I do have a story, and can I interject?
Yeah, please.
I came out in high school. I was queer before it was the thing to call us, and I remember in high school, like junior year, I guess, they do mock congresses, they do mock legislation stuff in history classes and things, and my bill in high school was about consenting adults. It was so that consenting adults could have sex without being criminally charged. I mean, I was ahead of my time, man, a long, long time ago.
I love it. You're a leader. But your analysis is right in that the establishment is gone, and it's time for the two parties to recreate themselves. And many people have focused on what is the new Republican Party, but we have some issues in the Democratic Party too. But here's what I think is going to happen, though. in that, I mean, we all have opinions like we all have something else. But I think all the Sanders supporters, when Sanders fades away as the candidate, there's no question that they're going to go to Clinton. I mean, where else are they going to go? I even think these young ones will go to Clinton. The older ones, all of our friends who have kind of went to the standards of Sanders, will come back to realize the reality of consistency with Clinton. But the Republican side, the whole new dump Trump thing is going on. They've still got to figure it out. And there's been a call now, where this happened. The last time this happened was in 1948, when at the Republican convention, the party nominated someone that wasn't even the top vote getter up till that point, if you will. And they're kind of calling for that. The other thing going on right now is the idea of bringing in a new candidate into the fold right now. I think the Republicans are, And Mitt Romney, John McCain, of course, the last two presidential nominees are calling on Republicans to halt Trump's rise by backing whichever candidate was strongest in their state. It's a form of tactical voting. So I think they're just all the behind the scenes shenanigans are quite high right now.
Yeah, it's wild and crazy.
Well, just to wrap up with today's vote, I just want to mention that Trump is expected to extend his lead today, getting 155 delegates. And in the Democratic side, you only need 2,300 delegates to cinch the nomination. Hillary's well on her way with 1,000, followed by Sanders 431. So again, to our point,
if he's going to extend his lead, you think he's taking in some kind of male enhancement stuff?
Trump?
And in the green room, we were talking about bone dialing. I thought that's what you said when you accidentally dialed me or something.
I said,
did you bone dial me?
Yes, because my phone was in my pocket. Yes, Mark.
Let's make it a hashtag on Twitter.
It's better than butt dialing, right? Hashtag.
Do people who accidentally sexting is bone dialing? Okay.
I have no idea.
This is explicit show. I love it.
Here's my gong.
Gong, 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 gong.
Mine's very serene. Next subject. So how it ties in with the Oscars. First of all, a quick Oscar story that I just read last night. Lady Gaga, to me, robbed of the Oscar. I'm not going to get that dramatic and be all.
Oh, totally robbed. I agree with you.
But she was.
I've just read. I haven't even heard it, but I've read that Sam Smith's song is like pretty mediocre at best. But you're right. She was robbed.
I think it's kind of honoring his short-term career so far. But Lady Gaga.
He is the only gay who's ever won an Oscar.
That's what we want to talk about. Little boy didn't know better. Poor little guy. He tried to claim that victory. Lady Gaga would have been like the biggest gay ally out there winning. But I love it. She added another tattoo to her body. It's actually there's pictures of it online. Have you seen it yet, Mark?
No.
It's an intricate black outline of a rose on fire. It's on her left shoulder, so look closely with her outfits, folks. Okay. You'll see it up there. What I love about it, it was designed by one of the survivors who joined Gaga on stage at the Oscars. That survivor's name is Jackie Lynn. For those that didn't hear the story, she sang a powerful song about rape on college campuses and was surrounded by 50 survivors. And that's why I love this woman. Why didn't she win?
Yeah, I like her a lot. I mean, for a while there, I was iffy, but I really love her. I dig her. I think she's totally diggable, and Madonna's a bitch.
So. She is. And so back to Sam Shepard's comment. Yeah, or Sam Smith's comment. It kind of unsettled some of the, there were at least 10 people that I counted and read stories about who were out gay lesbians who won Oscars over the years. Yeah, kind of got a few of them ruffled, didn't it? Yeah. Did it upset you, or were you just like, who cares?
Did what upset me?
Is making that claim when it wasn't.
No, I think he's young. I mean, you're in the heat of the thing. You're up there. You're like, oh my God, I won. I can totally understand that. And I also don't always think that some of these folks are the most well-informed. Just because somebody is a fabulous artist, that's all that means, is that they're a fabulous artist. I used to assume, and I don't want to get off to the side here, but I used to think that because like Prince was like a brilliant musician and all this shit, that he must be politically savvy and he reads all the stuff and he knows all these things. It's bullshit. And same thing with Sam Smith. I mean, he didn't even read the interview with Ian McKellen. He just paraphrased what he'd heard. So don't think that just because these people are, have a world or, this massive stage, that they're any more informed than anybody else.
Well, I agree, but at the same point, it doesn't really let him off the hook. If you want to be a a voice for the community. Have your handlers tell you what's going on. Kind of know the stats and data before you get up there.
Bone dial somebody.
Bone dial someone before you get on stage, for God's sake. I mean, really. But it's interesting. So when you look back historically at all the LGBT community that have won in years past, Best Original Song Award that was performed by Banana for Dick Tracy was actually written by Stephen Sondheim, openly gay in the theater world, of course. You have John Gilead winning Best Supporting Actor way back in 1982 for Arthur. Gilgood. I'm sorry, I said Gilead. Originally,
he wasn't out then, though.
Yeah, but he's considered the first openly gay actor.
Okay.
Just because he was open in certain circles. But you bring up a good point. Others, God, who else, Mark? I mean, there's tons of them.
Lots of them.
But what's interesting, too, is what I loved about it, and I posted about this, Dustin Lance Black, of course, being the most recent, probably, award winner for his writing of the movie about Harvey Milk. And he thanked the community back then, as you remember. He kind of got upset, and he kind of made it known on Twitter that he was upset about it. And then he kind of accused Sam Smith of texting.
Texting his boyfriend.
Sexting his fiancée, Tom Daly, only to come out and say, well, I was just saying they're friends. You would have think that Tom would have told him and informed him.
I'm telling you, he wasn't thinking all this shit through. You don't think it through when you're in front of a microphone. He may not have even written a speech. So I'm just like, who cares? Let it go.
You should know your shit, Mark.
He's a kid.
I differ with you on this. He's not. Yeah. Here's how kiddish he is. He gets off of Twitter because he was upset about all this backup. And here's his quote. He told his 4 million followers, "I'm logging off for a while. Some martinis, shaken not stirred, are definitely in order."
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, Bowie's son, well, that was a different story, but he got off Twitter for a while, and then he trashed Gaga.
He did not.
He didn't trash her, because I should be careful, because I really don't like that kind of hyperbole, but he wasn't fond of her Bowie tribute.
Nor was I, but,
But anyways, where are we going with this with the Oscars?
That's it. Oh, I don't know. What the heck is going on my phone, Mark?
I don't know. I was going to say, by the way, because we like to challenge, be extemporaneous. I was also thinking of, under this topic of gay for pay, because we talked about that too, how McKellen said, when have they ever given an openly gay actor an Oscar? And, they'll give it to you if you play gay. If you're straight and you play gay, they think you're bold. They think you're risking your career. And if you play trans, man, you got it in the bag.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, and speaking of that, another aspect of it I was reading recently is about an average of 75% of speaking roles already go to white actors. This is a big thing. I think it was, I hate to say it, but on HuffPost, they did a story about 10 or 15 actors, white actors, who played non-white roles. Angelina Jolie is Marianne Pearl. Ben Affleck played Mendez in Argo, and they made him to look Latin. Natalie Wood, way back then.
Well, Johnny Depp played Tano, for God's sake.
Johnny Depp is Tonto, and you brought that up. What happened in the Native American community? I mean, even it sounds minor, but Elizabeth Taylor back in the day, Cleopatra, you could have found an actress to play it. And again, it's all about box office numbers and cachet, right?
Yep.
So putting out the wrong message. Enough of those damn Oscars, Mark.
No, we were trying to trim the show, remember?
No, we are. So my final bell, because that's the final bell. That's mine. My final bell. Whoop.
Did you know? Actually, did you catch that little sound effect? You'll hear it this time.
Hey, one time you should ask your sound engineer to not just use canned effects. He should actually have you do them live, like a cappella effects.
Oh, I will. I've done a couple, but it's just time consuming. I have to record them and all this other stuff.
Whoop, 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 whoop. You like that one?
Oh, yeah. I could actually have another career doing that. Okay, let's...
Well, no, okay. We'll go on, but here's my natural sound effect. I would use slurping of the tea. What the hell was that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No whoopee cushions allowed, Mark. That's too old.
It wasn't canned though.
It was a whoopee cushion. I knew. I'm helping you out. Shit, can we go off? Can we go off for a minute?
No, come on now, go on.
You're gonna ask me to get serious? I'm gonna have to quickly switch what my final bell was because I had a very serious topic.
Okay. Let's just. There you go.
Okay.
It's like being an actor.
My topic. Maybe. Okay, here it is. Now the final bell has no interruptions, Mark. So, okay, you're trained. Did you go on mute?
No,
Okay,
I'm just good at hiding my laughter.
Okay, final bell. And I got this, actually. Some stuff I've been thinking about, and all of a sudden, watching CBS this morning, watching our friends the Seratones on there was a gal, an editor from Afar magazine. The cover story of Afar this month is about single travel, taking vacations by yourself. And the statistics, which I love, show that over 37% of people over 45 do their travel alone. And many of those people are married. This isn't just a matter of, hey, I have no one to travel with. Mm-hmm. And I will say one of my most favorite travel experiences happened 3 years ago when I went to New Mexico and did the trip solo. I met, my cousins live out there. I stayed with them. And at the end of the trip, my mom flew in with her sister, and we had a big kind of interesting family reunion with select members of the family. But I love the fact that my cousin's husband, Mike, gave me his Toyota 4Runner, and off I went. I started in Albuquerque, went up to Santa Fe, went out to Taos at the tip, worked my way back through the Red Canyon and back to Albuquerque over the course of 3 days. And it was a wonderful trip. And I just want to say, it's an unusual final bell. It's not very, political, but think about it. In these days when we're trying to find ourselves and we're trying to find answers, trying to clear our brains, often we say, let's go on a cruise so we don't have to text and check our email and all that. Well, there's better ways to do it, folks, because when you go on a cruise, you're sharing that quiet time with 3,500 people. Consider a trip alone. Turn your phone off. Go to a quiet place. Own your itinerary. The battles of where are we going to dinner tonight? And then someone says this and you say this. It's like you can make those own decisions. Make new friends. Journal about it. Blog about it along the way. Post to your social media. Let us experience your travels. Go on a unique trip where you can actually be a culinary chef for the day, or there's bartending tours in New Orleans, great culinary experiences. And some of the places they highlighted today that I would ask you to consider, London, they said great place to travel. Montreal, it's Europe in North America. Seattle, San Juan Islands, the editor said is one of her favorite trips. I love that trip. I did it with a friend, but I do it again by myself. Asheville, North Carolina. Very hipster. It's like the Napa Valley for people that are into beers.
Charlottesville, too, is really nice.
Really nice place. They talk about liquid courage in your travels, too. Have a little alcohol to make it a little braver for you if you're shy. But Louisiana, New Orleans, really encourage y'all. Come to New Orleans. There's a friend around every corner. You'll have such a great time. And another angle on this, Mark, is find your family history. I went to Munich alone. Actually, it was to a conference. Many of us do that. We go to conferences and add on a day. But this is really just making it a determination to take a trip by yourself, not based on work. But I went to Munich and explored my family roots. Very fun thing to do on your own. Meet family that you never knew you had. Okay. So that's
Scotland.
my final.
I'll go to Scotland.
Scotland. Go meet them, Mark. The McNeases.
Yeah, we have our own tartan or whatever you call it, plaid thing.
Go bring it. Post it.
So my in quote for today is a very somber one. It comes from my must read at LGBTSR this week, which I'm going to try to do that now every week there and have something that I really think people need to read. This was an article in the Times, New York Times, about it was called Last Man Standing, the Forgotten Survivors of AIDS. And I have a quote, but I'm going to start with this from the article. In San Francisco and across the country, AIDS has become an older person's disease. More than half of those living with AIDS or HIV, the virus that causes it, are now 50 or older. I'm sorry, I hit my microphone. In San Francisco alone, 6,000 gay men have been living with HIV or AIDS for at least 20 years. Some have been able to thrive, but most have not. And here's a quote from Peter Green. He's an AIDS survivor. Quote, I'm the luckiest unlucky person in the world. No one wants to be the last man standing. That's my in quote. Don't forget these people, please. Rick, you and I are of a generation that we knew them. And anyways, I thought that was just really powerful. Mm-hmm. That's our in quote and the end of our show. Another twist for you. Thanks for listening to America's only Clothing Optional podcast.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.